In our previous class, we have learned about the Pauli exclusion principle and Aufbau principle, in which we came to know that the orbitals are divided on the basis of energy levels, and on the basis of that, we have to do the electron filling. All right. Let's just come to the Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. This rule is deals with the filling of electron in the orbitals belonging to the same subshells. Filling of electron into the orbitals which are belonging to the same subshells, that is the orbitals of equal energy, or you can say the orbitals, you can degenerated orbitals. The orbitals like same subshells of same energy level and that are too degenerated, and these are known as the degenerated orbitals. It states pairing of electron in the orbital belong to the same subshell, that is SPDF. S is missing here. Same subshell SPDF does not takes place until each orbital belong to that subshell has got one electron each. If we talk about S has two electrons. Okay, so pairing will be done easily. But when we go for the higher suborbitals, which has maximum capacity of electron filling, so that will be PDF. P has 6, D has the capacity of 10, and F has the capacity of 14 electrons. All right. So we will not move to the next discrete orbital unless until we will singly fill the suborbitals. Okay, so basic need is we have to do it in a sequence, then first singly filled, then we will start pairing. Come back to the first discrete orbital again, and then we will start the pairing. All right, so it is singly occupied. Next, like this in table, for example, the atomic number of boron is 5, carbon is 6, and nitrogen is 7. So at this point, this boron will reach to the p orbital. So the 4 electron in 1s and 2s completely filled. Let's just move to the next p orbital, which has 3 degenerated orbitals: px, py, pz. If someone asks you what is the magnetic movement, px has zero movement, py has zero movement, px has -1, and pz is of +1. Center is considered to be the zero as we do in number line. When we move towards the left, it will be considered as negative. When we move towards the right, it will be considered as the positive. All right. Same with the D, same with the F. So let's just move to the carbon. Next electron. We are not pairing yet. We will go to the next degenerated orbital, that is Py. Next go to the nitrogen, then Pz. All suborbitals are singly filled now. All the degenerated orbitals of suborbitals are now singly filled. Now we will start pairing. Then we'll come back to the 2px, one in anti-clockwise, next in that anti-clockwise, and then we'll go to the neon. So neon has 10 electrons, and in which 1s is completely filled, 2s is completely filled, 2px, 2py, and 2pz all are completely filled. That has stable electronic configuration. This is inert gas or noble gases which do not react. Why they don't react? Because they have completely filled orbitals. So there is no need to accept or donate the electron. That is why they are non-reactive in normal conditions. But you can also react them, but at that time you require extreme conditions. Regulated temperature and pressure is needed. Okay. So we came to know that 2 points are there, 2 stages when the electrons are there in this degenerated orbital. One is the half filled stage, where all the degenerated orbitals have single electrons, or you can say singly filled. The scientific term is singly filled. Let's just come to the next level, that is full filled. Previous one is the half filled, when each and every degenerated orbital has single electron. And let's just move to the paired position. At that time, the degenerated orbitals have paired electrons, means all px, py, pz are completely filled. So let us talk about the stability of half filled and completely filled orbitals. How the completely filled and full filled stabilize. Okay, what is the difference between their energy level? What is the difference between their stability? Now we will learn this thing in the next topic. The ground state electronic configuration of an element always correspond to the state of lower energy. If we talk about the ground state, so ground state is the lowest energy level in which the electron can move around the nucleus for an infinite period of time. All right. But when we talk about the excited state, so this is a temporary state. After receiving the energy, after absorbing the energy, the electron will jump from the ground state to the excited state, and once it's lose its energy, it come back to its ground state, because the most stable state is the ground state one. Okay. Electronic configuration of atoms strictly follows the three rules I studied earlier. Even though in some cases like chromium and copper were two subshells, 4s and 3d, differ slightly in energies. The electron shifts from a subshell of lower energy to the subshell of higher energy, that 3d. Provide such shift results in the orbitals of subshell of higher energy getting either completely filled or half filled electronic configuration, and thereby attains the maximum stability. Because of this, electron configuration of chromium is 4s1 instead of means 3d54s1. This is arsenic. Sometimes instead of writing the entire electronic configuration, we used to take the element which has full electronic configuration so as to short it. This is argon. So argon 3d5 4s1 instead of argon 3d4 4s2, and the electronic configuration of copper will be argon 3d10 4s1 instead of 3d9 4s2. Such configuration will be added extra stability. Let me just explain this thing. For example, this is the electronic configuration of chromium metal. Argon is completely filled. Let us talk about the D. Let us talk about the D. So 3D, the capacity of D is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It means that the electron should come into this subshell instead of this. Why this thing happened? So usual electronic configuration is like instead of filling this orbital, the electron will go to the 4s1. But this is a usual electronic configuration. When we talk about the more stable or half-filled subshell arrangement, then this electron will move to the previous energy level, and all the subshells are completely filled in this situation. So let me just explain this thing you with an example. This is carbon. Okay, this is carbon. All right. So the atomic number of carbon is 6. All right. So the electronic configuration will be like 1, 2, 3, 1s, 2, 2s2, and 2p2. This is the ground state electronic configuration. All right. So if we talk about the ground state electronic configuration, it means that we will follow the Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity and start filling the electron like this, one in anti-clockwise, one in anti-clockwise, and then this. So this is the total number of electron are here is 6. But when we talk about the excited state, why this CH4 is stable if the capacity combining capacity of carbon is 2 only. So it in this condition it can show +2 oxidation state, even +4. Same with -2 and -4. When it combined with the non-metals, so it donates its electron with non-metals. And when we talk about metals, at that time it accepts the electron. That is why this oxidation states changes on the basis of its combination. All right. So let us talk about the exciting state. So in excited state, what happened? The 1s will be like same. 1s will be same. 2 electrons will be there. And from this 2s, 1 electron will jump and move to the higher energy level. Now we have half filled P and half filled S. When it come close to the hydrogen, for example, so 1 four hydrogens. So one hydrogen will combine here, one here, one here, one here. So total number of hydrogen are four, and carbon is combined with four hydrogen at this time. This is CH4. Understand this thing? This is excited state, and the ground state actually differs. So sometimes whenever an element want to just join with the other element with the maximum number of electrons, so what happened, it's just the electron will go from the lower energy level to the higher energy level. So in both the cases the electronic configuration will be different. In ground state the electronic configuration will be 1s2 2s2 2p2, and in excited state it will be 1s2 2s1 and 2p3. So we have the at this situation your element has maximum number of capacity to join with the other element, but there is a difference. There is a specific thing. This can only be happen in one shell. For example, we are this you can see this thing here, that this is say 2s, this is 2s here, and this is 2p2. So this is the second shell we are talking about. So this can only happen in the same type of same shell, in the suborbitals of same shell. This can be happen in 3s, 3p and 3d. All shells are same. Okay, so this only can happen from one shell to another shell. This will not happen that from 1s it will move to the 4d. This is not going to be happen. All right. Okay. Next is Schrodinger equation. Schrodinger equations explains us that the electron exhibits the wave-like characters. Okay, the movement of electron is like wave-like motion. So, should electrons exhibit wave-like behavior, and wave behavior describes using a wave function. If you want to calculate the wave nature or wave behavior, how it can be calculated, how you'll be able to know it. So wave behavior can be described or explained by using the wave function, and wave function is the with this trishul like thing. This is the unit of wave. Yes, we used to this symbol to denote the wave function, but this symbol is known as psi. PSI psi. Okay. S is an operator called Hamilton. E is the energy here, and this psi is the wave function. This symbol is known as psi. PSI psi. So H psi is equal to E psi, which actually means